You guys are held to that too?
Not really. Nick, why was it the right decision to release Devin White?
Ever since Devin got here, I just thought he was a really great pro. He handled everything with class. I know that was a hard situation for him to be in. A guy that had started a lot of games in this league and been successful in this league. And I can't say enough good things about Devin the person and just how he handled a disappointing situation for him. And, I think it just gives you a perspective of what we feel about the rest of that room and the guys that we have in that room and how they've been executing and how they've been playing, and look forward to continuing to grow with those guys that we have.
You had mentioned that, at some point you might need Devin to play without him. You mentioned the depth. Like, how do you think that depth is now?
Yeah, like I said, I'm really excited about the guys in the room and the way they're progressing. And, I think Coach King, our linebacker coach, is a great fundamental teacher. I just continually see them improving their fundamentals, in different aspects of, block destruction and different things like that, blitzing. And so, again, like I said, just excited about the room that we have and the depth that we have there. Guys that have played, some guys that have played meaningful snaps, some guys, with that are young in this game as well. But just excited about the development and the growth opportunity that we have in that room.
Why wasn't he able to find a role, do you think, on the defense? Why wasn't he able to find a role, do you think? Signed as a free agent, had some success in the league.
Again, it goes back to Nakobe and Zach getting that spot, winning that spot. And like I said, that's not an easy situation. And I can't say enough good things about Devin and how he handled that a really hard situation. Sometimes guys have roles on special teams, etc. And just in this particular case, this is where we were and just how it played out.
What you had fully had in Devin, or do you think there are things that were unknown by not seeing him in the regular season game?
Yeah, again, we go through our process as far as the, how we practice and get a lot from how you practice. And so I'm confident in our evaluation of players as far as how we go about our business practicing preseason games, et cetera, just with every player in general.
What's the biggest thing you learned during the self-scout during the bye?
Yeah, obviously you spend a ton of time there. I actually always get so excited for the bye week that it's just, get locked into the room and just sit there and figure out the things you do well, the things you don't do well. And the things that you don't do well, is it something that you can just eliminate, or is it, things that you have to get better at? And so I think, generally speaking, it's our, turnover differential that we have some different ways of how we're going to coach a couple things, and some of the tackling things, the different things, that how we're going to coach a couple things, and drill a couple things. So again, you put every bye week you go through, or any self-reflection that you go through, it's got to start with being humble to say, what are the issues, right? It takes for everybody, right? Being humble of, hey, these are the issues. And then putting thought into how you do different things. And I'm just speaking of like fundamentals of how you do different things, and then adapting to it. But I think the whole general thing of how do you get better can start with, are you hungry to get better? Like, does it drive you? Are you obsessed with it? Are you waking up in the middle of the night and thinking about how you can get better, how you do things different? Are you at home and your mind's wandering to figure those things out? And that's just that desire, that hunger. And then are you humble enough to say, here are the issues and here's what we got to do? And so that, hungry and humble, and, Jay Wright always would say that. And I always thought that was really a good way to say it, because the 10,000 foot view, that's how you get better, is those ways. So but as far as one specific thing, Zach, there was a lot of things we studied and looked at, but we looked at a lot of different things, turnover-wise and creating turnovers.
Speaking of the turnovers, you do stress winning the turnover battle. With a chance to look at the first 4 games, did you see any common thread between the turnovers on offense and then why you're not creating them on defense?
Sure. I mean, not only do you look at the first 4 games, you also go back and look at 4 years worth of us being here. So, and you do that after every season. You do that during every bye week, every opportunity to self-evaluate. And so we did that as well. Sure, there's common threads. I won't get into that, but there are definitely common threads that, you know, you can't, again, you got to identify issues and then try to put the guys in positions to fix those issues, whether it's with a drill, whether it's with a play call, whether it's with, and so a lot of good discussion back and forth. I was impressed by the players and their, you know, their involvement in it, you know, as far as the way, you know, not only did we study it, there were some guys that really buckled down and studied it themselves. I was just really impressed by that and their interaction back with that. You know, I mean, really impressed. It showed their hunger. That's something I'll keep private. But it just really did show their hunger of how they, you know, they went about their business this week as well.
On offense, your use of motion has decreased since week 1. Why has that been?
Again, different game plans call for different things. That's you know, sometimes the game plan calls for a lot of motion, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there's more tempo and sometimes there's not. Sometimes that tempo plays into it and sometimes it doesn't. So different things happen for it's a small sample size.
Comfortable
Yeah.
ability factor into?
Oh, no, he's comfortable. He's comfortable. Yeah, you can ask him, but I know he's comfortable with the things. And so just, again, different, small sample size, different game plans call for different things.
Specifically with the slow starts on offense, now that you've had a chance to kind of look at the opening scripts from the first 4 games, are there any potential changes, any takeaways that you had from that process?
Again, like, yeah, of course, like you go through all those different things and you think about, again, that's just not a 1 year, that's just not a 4-game study. That's a 4-year study we take a look at. And we definitely have some thoughts of, we know we got to start faster. We know we got to score in the first quarter, shoot. And so, yeah, everything was on the table with as far as, you know, the style of plays, the players, how we call it, how the defense looks to open things up. And I had some good thoughts. We have some really good thoughts coming out of it. Obviously, not going to get into specifics. You'll see how that transpires. You know, we put ourselves. I just, again, like I said about the bye week, there's just so much time. There's just so much room for growth because of the extra time that you get to really put the work in and grind it out to see what you can do better and what you do well.
What's the discussion like right now with Vic in terms of position changes to get the defense to where it needs to be?
Yeah, we're always constantly trying to figure out who plays where. Some guys are cemented in, but figuring out who plays where, who's playing, what kind of snaps are playing at.
I think if you ask most people, they would ask them kind of what's a nucleus of a franchise? Who are the core people, the most important people? They would probably say ownership, head coach, quarterback. From your experience, what's the biggest challenge in making sure those 3 entities are kind of always on the same page?
Communication, right? Communication, talking through everything, having hard discussion, you know, it's not kumbaya, but it's having hard discussions, telling the truth to each other. I mean, I think that's, at the end of the day, like, it always comes down to communication. I don't care if it's the relationship with your wife or your relationship with your kids, your relationship with the players, your relationship with ownership, your relationship with the GM. I think that always is going to be the core, and honesty are going to be the core things of any good relationship and any meshing. We know how important relationships are, and particularly the ones you just mentioned. And so, yeah, that's what it's about in my mind, and that's what we strive and try to do.
Hey, Nick, Robert Saleh getting fired, your class of coaches, obviously you know what this profession is, but when something like that happens, do you think about your coaching mortality, so to speak?
No. Obviously, I wish him nothing but the best. You know, I had a good working relationship with Coach Saleh, being able to practice against those guys. Got a lot of respect for him. You know, always wishing him and his family the best. Think he's a really good football coach. But my mind is set on only how do we get better. Like, if I'm upset, anything that anything out of your control or anything that consumes your mind that's not focused on getting better is a waste of time. It only clouds the process driven of like, if I'm waking up at 4 a.m, right, and my mind's not, like, it was just my mind, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to say to the team. Oh my God, I'm excited. Like, it's hard for me to go back to sleep when I wake up in the middle of the night, because I'm like, okay, I could say this, and here's how I'm going to message this. Ooh, what if we did this on defense? Oh, what if we did this with special teams? What if I have this conversation with this guy? And like, if my mind, that I get so much, like, I get less sleep, but I get a lot of things done there, or my trip home, my drive into work or my drive out of work. There's so many things. If you're focused on things that you can't control, or like, and then that's going to cloud that hunger and that drive to get better. And so that's all that we think about, is the hunger, drive to get better. I know you probably can say, well, that's coach talk. I'm not. Yeah, that's exactly that's how I live. That's how I've operated for, you are who your habits are, and that's how I've been operating for a big portion of my life.
Structure of the offense when you have AJ versus when you don't?
Obviously, AJ's a phenomenal player, and there's different things that again, when he goes down, you ask yourself questions as far as, who can do this or who can do that, and sometimes the answer is player A, sometimes the answer is player B, and sometimes the answer is that's an AJ thing, right? And so obviously there's some differences that happen when he's on the field. And quite frankly, there's just some differences the way the defense plays you when he's on the field. And so, that's common for any good player in this league, and that's been as successful as AJ has.
Jeremiah Trotter better to be the backup, Mike?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, these aren't just things that we make decisions on as far as no evidence. Like we practice every day, we walk through every day. We meet every day, obviously, and come to those conclusions in that aspect.
Nick,
Speaking of
Devontae
AJ, are you expecting to have him and Devontae and Lane Johnson back this week?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Early on in the week, we'll see how we'll get you guys a report later today. Feel good about the health of our football team. Bye week came at a good time for us for different reasons. So we'll see where we are.
What's the plan with Sydney this week?
Have we said anything? Okay. Yeah, window's open, as you know, and we're going to see how he does and how he looks. Obviously, we feel like he's ready to start going because our trainers and our doctors have said, hey, he's ready. It's time to go. Sydney is, has he attacked this with such a positive attitude, and just, you talk about a guy who's obsessed with getting better and obsessed with this game of football. That's Sydney, and we'll see where he is as we go. So obviously, you guys know he's practicing, and we'll see how he looks, and but he's looked good on the side there. But now it's a little different because you're changing directions, and with bodies around and all those different things. So again, we'll see where he is, but excited that he is at least back on that field because we got a lot of high hopes for Sydney.
Nick, with turnovers, giveaway, takeaway ratio and all that, you talk about it a lot, but how much of that is really coachable and how much is just guys making plays?
I think a lot of it. I think, you're not, everything I feel like we do is, when you're looking at yourself first at all times, you're always going to think, this is direct reflection of me and how I coach, and that's why, and you got to be able to do that to get better and to, and so to me, it's, you get what you emphasize as a football coach. So it's not just about talking; it's about your habits. What are your habits doing that create that? And so that's what I mean by we do our drills to do it. We videotape it differently than shout out to our video department. We actually get essentially a TV camera out there. It's not that gets you the good close looks of the ball. So again, we're obsessed with it, but it's not just by speak; it's by our habits. So then if it's not meshing, what's going on? Then you got to think about yourself, like, how do you coach it different? How do you refine it different? How do you drill it different? And so those are all the things that were discussions. And like I said, it might not be big tweaks, but there are tweaks of like, here's how we want to drill this going forward. And, here's how we want to rep this particular one going forward. So it's some different thoughts. So, but anything that happens on that football field, if the head coach is responsible for every one of it, and you better have answers as far as, how you do things better, right? You always got to be digging for that. And that's, if I want our players to have that hunger and desire, they need to see me with that hunger and desire. And so, yeah, I think to answer your question, 100%.
Is that
Last
Gene
one.
taking over at slot cornerback?
I'm sorry.
Is Cooper the Gene taking over at slot cornerback?
Again, we're gonna look at. He's obviously been getting reps at slot. We'll see how it goes this week. Avante's done a good job. Avante's been a good player here for a long time, and pleased with the things that he's doing. So we'll see how the reps go this week. Cooper's obviously got more on his plate than he has in the past with the punt return duties and some of the things that he's doing on special teams. So again, pleased with how Avante's is going. But we'll continue to work the reps for all the guys this week and see where we are at the end of the week.